These are the case files of the Dust Bowl Detective Agency. Episode 2. A Pedal Too Far. Small town USA. Population, crime. An old man goes out to feed the pigeons, and without warning the birds turn on him. The man brandishes his cane as he flees the clawing of the sky rats. However, there is one thing he cannot flee from. Crime. The claws of evil have come to small town USA, and they won't be leaving until they have scratched the goodness from the poor citizens of the besieged town. International forces have decided that the soul of America is up for grabs, and they are determined to peck away until nothing remains but their machinations of evil. The lazy music of the jazz club drifts in through the window, like the scent of decaying flowers for your ears. The neon sign for the ugly duckling asphyxiates as it flickers off and on from down the street. No one important goes in the club anymore. Now the barflies have taken up the spot, drinking their lives away one watered-down beer at a time. The music still shows up, but like an ugly date, you wish it wouldn't. Jimmy plays jacks against himself and is on a losing streak. I hold a stick in my hand while whittling away with a dull knife. It's a lazy Friday evening on a Monday.
Dog blast it. How did he do that?
Jimmy adds another mark to his opponent's score.
You ever think about death?
What?
You know, what if someone shoots us, sir?
You're a good lad, Jimmy. As long as we are on the side of justice, I suspect the bullets will just bounce off of us.
Do you think so, sir?
Jimmy bounces the ball again, but loses his chance for a comeback by fumbling. Jimmy, my boy, I suspect we are invincible, as long as we are on the side of law and order. Let's not test it, though, just to be safe. If someone thinks about shooting you, you goose them good.
Yes, sir.
Stop him! He stole my refuse bike!
Jimmy, look sharp. Crime is afoot.
Jiminy Crickets! He was going at least 10.
Jimmy opens the door and we both spill out onto the porch, like milk you shouldn't cry over. A large man comes running up, with hair out of control, tattoos on each arm, and more piercings than a harpooned whale. He looks like the type that smokes the reefer in front of Grandma, just to make her cry.
Sir, I'll help you catch him.
Attaboy, Jimmy.
I gotta catch him. I'm going to elongate my strides.
Jimmy chases the perp down the road and into a dark alley.
Stop absconding the law! Stop absconding the law! Stop absconding the law!
Jimmy! Jimmy! Wake up, lad! I shake the lad and move his neck around until he comes awake.
I'm sorry, sir. I wasn't righteous enough for justice. The board walloped me good.
Nonsense, my boy. We never discussed boards. I'm sure a bullet would have bounced right off you during your heroic chase.
Are you okay? Thanks for trying. My refuse bike was too fast for you to catch, though. That thief is a real slick criminal.
Ah, shucks. Even when I try, I fail.
Come on, lad. Don't let Lady Liberty see you down. The best thing for a bump on the head is to get upright so your brain juice can flow correctly. I pick up my junior detective, and I brush off his $5 suit jacket.
Gee, I'm awful sorry you got into all this mess with me.
Nonsense. Jimmy and I here are detectives. We cause a mess wherever we go. This seems to reassure the man.
Well, I could use your help now. That thief just stole my finest refuse bike. I found it in a pile of refuse and cleaned it up real good.
Jimmy, run back to the office and get your notepad. Hurry back. Come on, lad. Stop running sideways. I hold up my hand and make a writing motion to indicate that I will discuss the theft no further until Jimmy's return. Within several minutes, Jimmy has returned with a notepad, and we lounge under a streetlight so I can see our new client clearly. My impression was spot on, like an experienced cleaner at a laundry. He was a ne'er-do-well and proud of it, but we couldn't be too picky about our customers right now. Times are tough, and Jimmy's side business of silly dances wasn't doing as well as he had promised.
Sir, may I have your name?
My name is Sam. I was just passing through. I don't live around here.
Jimmy attempts to write with the eraser, but I quickly turn the pencil around for him.
I was heading home after work, and this neighborhood is the shortest way. I was riding my favorite bike I found in a refuse pile, but when I stopped to stretch my legs, a man hopped on. I was chasing after him, and that's when I ran into you two.
I can see Jimmy writing gibberish on the notepad. Hopefully it's a code. It looked like a pretty nice basket on that bike for a dumpster bike. I let a small amount of suspicion enter my voice, but like a naive salmon swimming upstream, he looks pleased.
I saved up for it. It was the best basket on this side of the city. Well, it was. Who knows where it is now?
Did you see the look-like the man?
I begin to suspect Jimmy took a harder hit for justice than we realized. He wants to know the man's description.
Oh, yes, I know this. He looked like he was from somewhere else. Maybe somewhere way else.
A stolen bike? A doomed commute? A wallop detective and a foreigner? This was beginning to sound like a recipe. A recipe for crime.
Did you know the man?
Jimmy's brain juices seemed to write themselves for this question, and his writing was beginning to form letters. Not yet words, though.
No, I've never seen him before. He was a real mean looker. He had earrings and tattoos and lots of piercings.
That isn't much to go on, Sam. You, yourself, fit that description.
Oh, and he was Chinese. Did I mention that?
Jimmy spells most of the word correctly before finishing it with the drawing of a horse.
Golly, now that is some good info. You're gonna nail this perp for sure.
I hope so. Now I have to go home and tell my wife that our favorite refuse bike is gone.
There. Give us your address and then go home to your wife. Let the detectives do the detecting. I pat him gently on the shoulder. Jimmy writes the man's address in Roman numerals.
Please get my bike back.
We are on the case.
Jimmy finishes his picture of barnyard animals being fed by the farmer. Sam just nods his head sadly and slumps off into the night. Jimmy, the case is afoot. Jimmy, it's time for a lesson in detecting.
Yes, sir.
Now, Jimmy, every good detective has an informant. Someone who straddles the line between crime and justice. Someone who knows what the seedy underbelly is up to.
Is it morally right for this person to stay on both the side of justice and the side of criminality?
No, Jimmy. They are undoubtedly nefarious. But a good detective has to follow the clues, even if he doesn't like where they lead.
So, it's like following footsteps through cow manure.
Yeah, I suppose.
Yes, sir, I understand completely. I've had some rough days in the fields.
Jimmy, what were you doing that made you track footsteps through manure?
I don't want to speak of it.
Right.
We didn't have to go very far. We can see the ugly duckling from our detective agency.
Crime is never that far away. Always suspect it, especially if you aren't expecting it.
Should I draw my gun? I just got a new shoulder holster and I could use some practice.
You have to play things cool. We don't want the clientele knowing justice lurks nearby. Jimmy takes his Homburg off his head and sets it in the back seat. Nice disguise, Jimmy.
Service!
The barkeep looks at us down from the bar. His face tells the tale of 1,000 poured drinks. What do you want?
Singapore sling. Make it oriental.
A Manhattan for me. Keep it in the city.
What do we do now, sir?
We just take our time, Jimmy. Look around. Get to know the place before we make our move.
You said you had an informant here. Who is it, sir?
Oh, you'll see soon enough. I sip my drink and wonder which city the barkeep thought I was referring to. Jimmy makes a face that tells me he made it to the Orient, but not the country he was looking for. The jazz band plays a song as sad as the people sitting around us. Only half the tables are filled and even less of the bar. This ugly duckling never molted. The barkeep slips a piece of paper over to me. His eyes let me know that he is unimpressed with the world. I pull the paper up, and I see a familiar script. The game is on, Jimmy. I stand up slowly, trying not to look like a detective. Jimmy imitates me, but needs more practice. We head to the back room, and I knock. The door opens, and a large man eyes us, like a butcher deciding where he's going to put his cleaver. He moves to the side and lets us step past him and into a dingy office. The desk only has one good characteristic. It's still standing. Surrounding it are 3 chairs that someone had neglected to take out back and shoot. Behind the desk sits the owner of the ugly duckling. She is stylishly dressed and has a healthy cigarette dangling from her lips. The holder stained and broken, and like the owner, it had lived through better days.
Birdseye, I wasn't expecting to see you in my fine establishment. I do hope you stay for the late-night show.
Cut the hoopla. We need some dirt on an invasion force, possibly needing to steal a refuse bike to make a quick getaway.
An invasion force? It's tough to invade here. There aren't many ways of doing that.
Well, that's true.
We need the dirt, and we need it now, or else Smokey the Bear gets a tip, and whatever is left of this club will get shut down.
Invasion forces are difficult, especially if you mean from the Orient. There is really only one way to make it in or out of our humble city.
We don't want any more drinks, ma'am. Please just tell us what we need to know.
Other places may seem different, but the water flows all over the world.
No more drinks!
Cut the chit-chat, dollface. We need info on someone from the Orient making a play.
Water. They came on a ship.
Oh.
No more riddles, baby cakes. Get the iron heating or Barney comes knocking at the door.
They are at the docks. They came over the water. In a ship. Go to the docks.
Okay, Mother Goose. We will trust you, but don't make us come back. Jimmy gives his toughest look as we leave. The stench of the dock reaches our noses several blocks before we arrive there. Everything there stinks. Like firing an entire clip at a perp and only wounding him.
What do you think this is all about, sir? We haven't seen this much action since that man with the talking pictures was hanged down the street.
It has been an exciting night, Jimmy. Still, it worries me. I believe crime is afoot. Crime most foul. Jimmy covers his mouth, horrified. Now, Jimmy, don't forget. We are men of the law, and we have to take courage.
Yes, sir. I just need to toughen up and pretend nothing is wrong. Let's go find this perp.
Good work, Jimmy. Jimmy is a tough kid, but he simmers like a hot stew. I need to find something to keep his brain off the board that brained him. Say, Jimmy, let's hypothesize as we walk around the dock. It will keep us sharp while we sleuth. What do you think the motive could be?
I was thinking about that, sir. I'm thinking this is the work of several criminals who have an old dowager for ransom. Perhaps this man got word that she had slipped and fallen, and he had stole the bike to hurry back to where she is captive.
What? Where did you get that from?
It's just a hunch I had. When I was chasing the man, he had the hunched-over look of a man who takes hostages.
I replay the scene in my head, like a talking picture but more accurate. I have no doubt that he did have the hunch of a man who takes hostages. But every man has a past. For some it's taking hostages. What about his head, though? Could you distinguish any specific characteristics from his criminal cranium?
He reminded me of the drug smuggler, Tar Pit Joe. Maybe he's a drug smuggler for an international drug smuggling ring. He might have needed a bike to smuggle some drugs from one safe house to another.
Perhaps. But what do you make of his lower lip? It seemed a tad askew. More of an embezzler than a smuggler. As we walk along the docks, we come across a boat unloading its cargo under the scant lighting. A large crane sits beside it. The hook lifts the cargo from the deck of the ship and onto the dock. We stop and watch as Jimmy thinks over what we know so far.
Maybe he's a spy. Sam did say he was a foreigner.
Good lad. It's right to be suspicious of foreign people. What would he be doing here, except trying to overthrow the sweet liberty we hold so dear?
So you think that's it?
Now hold on, lad. Hypothesizing is a fun game, but like the talking pictures, it will never replace good hard facts. Let those thoughts marinate in the brine, for now.
Look, Mr. Birdseye. They are shipping snow.
That isn't snow, Jimmy. That's ink and icing. Freudian flour. Peruvian powder. Coca from the coca leaf. It's cocaine, Jimmy. And enough of it to keep the underbelly of the city melting for months.
Oh boy!
Slow down there, Jimmy. You are moving like a steam engine with no brakes. Quick, let's duck behind this building. Let's go at this real easy. These aren't our everyday criminals. These are tough men, like salted pork after months at sea. Every step needs to be strategic. Every jack scooped up when the ball bounces. Jump into the water and see if you can get onto their ship.
Whoa. So much cooler than I thought it would be. Easy. Can't let them see me. My gun will stay dry between my teeth as long as I stay above the water. I think it's clear. Grab this rope. The deck is clear. I must have cleaned up the mess and gone to sleep for the night. I have to get below deck and see if there's more cocaine on the ship. I need to recite the detective pledge Mr. Birdseye made me memorize. In my left hand, I hold justice for all, and the will to assert it. In my right hand, I hold my gun for goosing criminals. It's so dark down here. Oh, that's a lantern. Now let me see what the deal is down here. They should store these bags more efficiently. Someone could trip over them and get hurt. Now let's see what's inside. They must use a lot of sugar on their voyages, but I need to find the icing Mr. Birdseye was talking about. I should try a different room. I wonder what's in here. Oh, they don't seem that tired after all.
Just then, the hatch springs open like the first day after winter. Everybody stop moving or we'll blow you away. The criminals shield their eyes from the light at first, but quickly drop their guns when they see Johnny Law peering down the hatch. The officers flood down the steps, like water comes down a mountain after the Chinook. I follow them down and find a wide-eyed, unblinking junior detective, sprawled over some irresponsibly placed cargo, with his mouth agape, like the leviathan that took Jonah in its belly for 3 days. And like the giant fish, Jimmy was just sick. His fine $5 suit jacket was now closer to fishing net than to evening wear. So many bullets had struck the material that it was tough to know if some of them hadn't entered through the same entrances and exited without making a disturbance, like a discreet patron at a speakeasy. But like Captain Ahab, they had hit only the unimportant parts. Jimmy had entered Hell's Heart, but tripped over the bags without becoming tangled with the giant fish. All the fired cartridges had turned his jacket into tatters, but the junior detective remained intact, like a securely wrapped cod sandwich. I led Jimmy to the top of the ship, hoping to get some air in that gaping mouth of his. Come on, Jimmy, snap out of it. Jimmy managed to finally close his mouth. I put a comforting hand on his shoulder as the police began leading the criminals away.
None of the bullets touched me.
How about you take this weekend off? We managed to decipher the Roman numerals and head to Sam's house.
What are we going to tell him, sir?
It's a sad day, Jimmy, but when criminals dabble in their evil, not everything can be put back together again. Sam opens the door excitedly as his eyes cast behind us. His facade drops when he sees we are bikeless.
Oh, how is the case going?
Good news, Sam. Jimmy here got a medal.
What did you get a medal for, Jimmy?
I got on board a ship and found cocaine. Mr. Birdseye wouldn't let us leave the police station until they handed over a reward.
That's very nice. What about my bike, though?
We have some bad news, Sam. We found your bike in the hold of a ship.
Oh, you did?
It's not good, Sam. The criminals dismantled it. They took their time. It came apart piece by piece, and finally they drowned it in oil, like some kind of sick game.
That's too much lubrication.
They wanted it to suffer. I think it's better that things ended down there. It can't suffer anymore.
Oh, this news is terrible.
There, Sam. You can take solace in the fact that Jimmy here got a medal.
Yes, that is good, but I find no solace. I wish I had my refuse bike.
It's really shiny.
That it is, Jimmy.
No! Why, God, why?
Did we solve the case, sir? We never did find the man who took the bike.
Detecting never comes out fair. Like a dog track where the bookies are in charge of the dog food.
Well, it stinks.
I think so too, Jimmy. But we did find a couple things that are very important for detectives.
Well, we did get his name from the crew. You wouldn't think someone named Dragonclaw would be a criminal.
Yes, Jimmy, that is one of the things we got. But we got something even more important. That every detective must have if they are going to fight for justice against the overwhelming tide of evil.
What is it, sir?
A criminal to do battle with. A heart so dark that only true seekers of justice can light up its misdeeds. One with cunning that can only be matched by our own. We have the most important thing of all. A nemesis.
The intrepid duo has done it again. No crime is safe and there's no place safe for crime. Join us next time for more episodes of the Case Files of the Dust Bowl Detective Agency.